Hey, what's going on, fam? 200K adjuster coming at you. I am getting ready to walk into my first inspection of the day. I actually have 3 today that I'm going to try to get out. Just want to give you a little bit of a mindset as I walk into this inspection here. So this insured has reported wind damage to their siding and nothing else, right? So now what most people think is, if you're new, hey, I'm just going to go check on what the insured told me over the phone. So I'm just going to check the siding, right? And they just might check the siding and be all done. However, there's a few things you guys need to remember, especially you new guys, is that we are required by law to perform a reasonable inspection to get all the possible evidence to determine reasonable damage, okay? So with that said, you can't just go and look at what the insured reported. The reason being is the insured is not the expert. We are the expert. The insured is giving us a reason why they filed the claim. Hey, I noticed some damage to my siding, but there may be more damage. And if it's truly wind, which I don't know yet, I'm getting ready to walk in and I'll let you guys know. If it's truly wind, then we're probably going to see additional damage, especially if it's strong enough to damage the siding. I should be able to see something on the roof. So even though they didn't report anything on the roof, I'm still going to be jumping on the roof. Why? Because that is a reasonable investigation to this claim, okay? So I'm still going to be checking on everything. If there's an outbuilding, I'm going to be checking the outbuilding for damage, right? That's related to wind. I'm looking at the fence, if the wind was strong enough to blow the siding off, was it strong enough to damage the fence possibly, right? Now, I may or may not go inside the house. That depends on what I find outside the house. So if I jump on the roof and there's really not much up there, there's really no reason for me to go inside the house because, one, the insured hasn't noticed any damage, and 2, there's no damage on the exterior of the home that gives me reasonable doubt that there may be damage on the inside of the home, right? But if I go on the roof and I find, significant damage, even though the insured did not report interior damage, I might say, hey, do you mind if I just come in and glance around the interior of the home to see if I can find any possible leaks caused by the damage outside? I hope that makes sense to you. So, no matter what, whenever you guys get a claim, even if it seems like it's super simple, you still need to do your due diligence. It's required that we are obligated to provide a reasonable inspection to gather as much evidence as possible to give out a reasonable compensation for damage caused by a covered peril, okay? In my last video, I showed you guys how I kind of walked through my thought process for defining hail. I may or may not be able to do that in this one here. We're going to find out. But if so, I like to walk through a reasonable process for how I defined wind damage. Okay. And remember, we are looking for, could this reasonably been caused by wind? All right. So that's what we're thinking about. Just because it's damaged doesn't mean it's not covered, or mean it's covered, okay? But it also doesn't mean that it's not covered just because they didn't report it either. So we are going to look up reasonable damage. Can we make a reasonable argument that this was actually caused by a weather event, specifically wind in this case, that caused damage to this home, whether it's on the roof, whether it's on the siding, whether it's the fence, no matter what, we're going to look for reasonable damage, and we're going to make reasonable assumptions on that. And the same thing, we're going to, if we can't really reasonably consider that to be damage, we have to be reasonable in why we think it wasn't damaged. So, if I'm finding a ton of rot on, some fence posts, and that fence post seems to be, falling over a little bit, well, I may assume reasonably that the fence damage, the reason why the fence is falling over, has nothing to do with wind, but it's really just wear and tear due to rot, if that makes sense to you guys, okay? So anyways, getting ready to jump on this first inspection here. Now, there is still some snow on the ground. I'll show you guys. And there's still some snow on the roofs, as you guys can see over there. So I am about a block away from my home that I'm inspecting. Doesn't matter if it's it is actually a 2-story, but it didn't look that steep from the Google Map photos. But no matter what, even if it's not a steep roof, just due to the snow and potential ice that could be on the roof, I'm going to be using my Ridge Pro to get up on that roof, and possibly even my roof pad. So anyways, we'll get back to you guys shortly. All right, y'all, I want to show you guys something here real quick. So if you remember at my start, I talked about how they just filed for some siding damage. And obviously our job, sorry, fix my camera there. Obviously our job is to do a reasonable inspection. Sorry, I'm making a mess right here. Sorry, it's cold out here. To do a reasonable inspection and find all damage, regardless if the insured filed for it or not. So I am on the roof. Now I want to show you guys something. I want to flip this camera around. Okay. So he got a bunch of marks over here. Now I want to show you guys something. This roofer almost screwed himself over. I'll show you why. So you see we have our creases up here, right? Look at this right here. This is a manual. Somebody was trying to lift this shingle up. Probably what happened, my theory is that the shingle resealed itself and somebody tried to lift it up and cause this damage. The problem is, a lot of guys, when they don't know what they're doing, well, just think a shingle is loose and they'll lift it up and they'll actually cause this damage. Can you see how thick that is? So that, in theory, may not be wind related. That might just be somebody who doesn't know what they're doing and causing damage to the shingle. You can tell by this. Let's walk over here. See this one? Same thing. Someone's trying to peel this up. Someone's trying to peel this up, right? And so now you might be asking, why did I mark those if it looks like it's going to be mechanical? Well, this is why we do a thorough investigation. Because you come on this side and we have wind damage, but we don't really have manipulation. See that? That's legit looking wind. But look, nobody was, you see the crease here? Nobody was fooling around with these shingles too much. So, what I can reasonably assume, based on the wind here, when I marked over there, reasonably speaking, I can probably assume that those shingles were actually damaged and resealed themselves, and somebody with not a whole lot of experience came out and created more damage. Now, here's the thing. If that was the only thing I saw, and I didn't see this, there's a good chance that would end up being mechanical damage. You see that? So, again, all determination of coverage is made after the inspection, so this is not a promise of coverage. But I'm just saying that reasonably speaking, with the information that I have now, I might be able to assume that was a rookie mistake. But legit, there is damage over there, legit wise. So you contractors, you got to be careful, because that's a good way to make yourself liable for a roof if you're not careful. Okay? You also see I'm marking up hail damage on this roof. Now, this is a wind claim, but we can't overlook damage either, right? So if the insured believes that you willfully ignored damage to the property that was covered underneath a covered peril, you can be held liable for errors and omissions. Okay? Now, is this hail going to be covered? I don't know. I have to go see when the date of loss was. I have to see how old this policy is, see if the damage happened while this policy was in effect. right? There's a lot of questions I got to answer. But what am I doing? I'm marking it for nothing else to say, hey, I recognize this. I inspected this. I'm covering myself when I do this report. It may or may not be covered, I don't know. But I'm going to mark it up, and then we're going to do some due diligence and find out if this is covered or not. So anyways, just thought I'd bring that out. I'll finish up here. Oh, by the way, again, look at our soft metals up here. See, it's snowing up here. That's why I brought the Ridge Pro. But you can see our soft metals got a beating here, so we definitely know there's some hail damage on this roof. So again, I don't know if it's covered or not. We're going to do our due diligence, our job, and we'll find out. So, all right. Hey, real quick, for you guys that are doing these double pulls, you always want to be as safe as you can. So I'm going to show you what I did with this one here. This camera around. All right. So you see I got my pad here. That pad provides a lot of, it's like cougar paws for a ladder. Okay, but you also see what I did. So I strapped my ladder to the bottom of this fascia. I'd much rather replace a fascia than replace some broken bones. So this is about a 7 steepness right here. But that was pretty solid. I felt really safe getting up there. Just some things for you guys to think about. Alright guys, show you what happened here. Totally just blew my tire. I driving up this guy and I hit this corner. Look at the hole created in here. Messed that guy up. So anyways, I'm ready to change out this tire. This is still the same inspection that I was just on. And I do have a spare. Spare does work. But basically what I'm trying to do here is best I can. I'll show you guys this. Get my jack on this cross beam here and lift this up and start taking off these wheels. There are no wheel locks, so that helps. Now what I usually do is I kind of get this preset by hand because this thing is a pain in the neck to use, really. So I get this as close as I can. Then I'm going to slide it in under there and use that to prop the rest of it up. So I'm going to get that done and get back with you. Alright y'all, coming to the front was actually easier. So you see I got it pre-positioned. I just put my lever in there, and now I'm going to lift this guy up. I'm going to need both hands, so I can't do this with the phone, but see I got on a brace that goes all the way across. It's kind of in the middle, just mainly because that's where the fat part of the brace is, and I just feel more comfortable with it being right there. So I'm going to lift this up, and then I'm going to get the spare tire down and get this tire changed out. Okay, as you see, I actually got this all the way off the ground here. Forgot to show you. The lever actually goes into your it's a tie, I can't remember what it's called. Your socket wrench there. I know that's not what it's called, whatever it's called, but anyways, you use that to turn it. Get this up above the ground. This wheel will free spin now. Perfect. Depending on how tight these bolts are, I may have to lower it, but you do have to raise it up high enough to get the other wheel on there. So if I can get these bolts off as is, that'd be great. I may have to lower it and use the ground for some friction and then raise it back up again. I'll show you what I mean here in a minute, but I need to get this other tire out. This other tire, there we go. Alright, be right back. Okay, so on the Dodge Ram, the way you access your spare tire, there's actually a loosening bolt in here. So you're going to take this guy off, right here, right? on the end of this stick, there's another cap, just like this. And you're going to lock it into that thing, you're going to turn it. What that does, you can see, that gets your wheel to start loosening up some. So, I'm going to do that and then get back to you. Oop, got this the wrong way, hang on. Alright, so you see I got my spare off. Now, I guess I'll just show you this real fast. What holds this up is this guy right here, right? The way you get this out is you gotta give enough room. You're gonna turn it up and up through the center hole here. So basically, that guy fits in this hole and it tightens up, right? So what you gotta do is you're over here, you flip it and pull it out to that hole. And that's how this comes out. Okay. Now, see, I did relower my tire a little bit. I got a little bit of friction here. I didn't go all the way down, so I don't want to go all the way down. Just enough to give myself some friction. Got my thing in there. What I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna see if I can kick this. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Perfect. Yeah, first one loosened up. Oh yeah. And that's it. So get the rest of these off, put rejack this up, and get my new tire ready to go. All right, there you have it, kids. So I got that off. I just raised my thing back up. That fell over. I'll throw that in the back of the truck. I'm gonna put my full-size spare on here, which is awesome. Because technically, I can wait till I get home to get a new one. Is that full size? Looks like it. I'll put it on, we'll know for sure here in a minute. But there, I'm gonna throw this in the back of the truck and get the other one on. Alright y'all, that is not a full-size tire. But what you see is I got it on here. Now, these are just hand tightened for the moment, just to keep this in place. And then what I'm going to do, there you go, is we'll lower this down. Now I'm going to lower it all the way yet. I'm going to lower it down just enough to give myself some friction, tighten those up, and then lower it down all the way and I'll be done. See you in a minute. Okay, so you see I lowered this down just till I got a little bit of friction. I'm going to tighten these bolts up, tight as I can get them, lower this down the rest of the way, head over to the tire shop. Alright, so I got this on. Now, you have to kind of tighten these all at the same time. You can't just tighten one and tighten the next one. You have to go like halfway on one. You're doing halfway on all of them, and then halfway again. Then when you get it up there, what I usually do, I put this there, and I kick that down. Again, I'm going to go all the way around. Now, this is why it's also important to have your jack on a steady part of the truck, because I've actually knocked my truck, when my truck was my car, no, it was my truck actually, knocked my truck off the jack before. Yeah, this tire ain't gonna be very, this tire's gonna be soft. I'm gonna have to get to it. I'm just gonna keep going around. Yep. I shouldn't be doing these with my Cougars. See, I got my Cougar paws on. But, beautiful. Shake it twice. Beautiful. All right. So you change the tire. So I'm gonna lower this down, everything back in the truck, off to the tire shop. All right. So you see I got kind of a flat spare tire here, so That's why I carry this guy around. I don't want 50. So we're gonna do about 35. Let's see if I remember how to do this. I think it's just hit start, right? Nope. Which one was it? So then you guys listen to that noise, I'll come back to you later. Okay, well that's airing up. I'm just gonna show you how to put this up. So you see this lever is put together with these knobs. So we're gonna do this with one hand. I can't. Oh, let's see. Oh, battery's dead. I knew that wasn't gonna last long. We gotta keep this charged up. So that'll give me 3 miles. I think it's 3 miles away, but anyways, you take those out and put in the thing here. So I'll do that and I'll get back to you. Alright, there you go. So take all your stuff apart, put it in your bag, lower your jack down as far as you can get it, and actually these straps like so. Oops, sorry. I'm going to get a head camera sooner or later. There you go. Anyways, should we get this one in? Yeah, just tighten that top part up and you stick this underneath your front seat. And that's how it's done, ladies and gentlemen. Always keep that charged, because you never know when you need it. Alright guys, just to recap here, I did just get with this one inspection done. And had to change out the flat tire in my truck. I am about 4 miles from Discount Tire, where I got my tires at, so I think I have a little bit of warranty on this one. Only was able to get it blown up to, well, my tire pressure thing says it's 30. That's not what the machine said, so hopefully I'm okay. But if I do see a gas station between here and there, I will probably stop and fill up that spare tire. For no other reason than, you know, I always want a spare tire to be full of air anyways. But to recap on the inspection, I didn't show you my elevation inspection, but I did inspect the elevations, and I did find what appears to be wind damage to the siding. Now, if you notice, I'm always saying this appears to be this, or I'm assuming that's this, or whatever. And the reason I do that is you never want to make promises on the inspection. So, and you also don't want to make video promises either, right? So I'm doing a lot of these on video. I do not recommend that you guys do video unless you are very confident in your inspection processes. Make sure you're not promising anything. Make sure that you're always talking things like reasonable. This might be reasonable. This might be reasonable. You're not making matter-of-fact decisions. You always need to, you know, review your photos. There are some times where I assume something might be damaged. I go back and look at my photos and like, you know what? I might be wrong there. And there's times where I look at my photos like, you know what? I thought this wasn't damaged, but I took photos of it anyways. I reviewed it. It's like, you know what? Based on everything else I saw, this probably, you know, reasonably could be damaged. So, if you're going to, first of all, you shouldn't be doing this if you're brand new, videoing anything. But you know, you get 400 claims on your belt like I have, and you know, you kind of understand the processes. You work with claims that have attorneys on, and you work with claims with PAs and contractors, and you just be real careful what you say and what you're recording. So everything I've shown you is non-proprietary information. This is basically how things work in this field. Everybody kind of knows it. So this isn't procedures that's owned by anybody. This is just basically what most people do that have been doing this a while. So anyways, we're going to go back, we're going to look at these photos, we're going to make a final assessment of this roof. We're going to review that hail damage and see if there was a hail event in a reasonable amount of time within the statutes of limitations. Make sure the policy was in effect. If there was a hailstorm, make sure the policy was in effect. There was one time where sure enough there was a hailstorm where I could have replaced the roof, but the policy was too new. The policy was a few months after that hailstorm, so unfortunately the hail was not covered in that situation because they just started their policy. So still got some due diligence to do, but if you have any questions about what I showed you guys, I just want to verify that I did do a elevation inspection as well. Found some siding damage that appeared to be wind related. So there was some fence damage. I'm not calling it wind. The reason being it was rotten and it looked like the nail just pulled right through the fence board. I probably should have showed you guys a picture of that just so you see what I'm saying, but that's more wear and tear and rot and not true wind damage in my opinion. So anyways, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. For all you ladies out there who are about to do this on your own and want to know how to change a tire, that's why I did that. So if you can change your own tire, then you can say you don't need a man, right? And that's the big thing. Hey, I don't need no man. Well, this man just showed you how not to need a man by changing your own tire. So there you go. But appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Comment below with anything that you may have seen. And I'm going to get to this tire shop as soon as I can. And we'll talk to y'all later.